are you? It is Crystal Lopez here from crystalandcup.com. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. Guess who is with me today? Yes, it is Kelsey. So you guys ask often.
So shaky, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You guys ask often for updates on Kelsey and how she's doing. And today we are 51 miles from our destination. We are taking a trip to Waco. This is our annual trip. We've done it for 2 years now, but we're very behind and we skipped a year, but it's our annual trip, okay? Like, we are adamant that this is our annual trip.
Yes.
So we're going to Waco. We're going to go have lunch at Magnolia table, and then we are going to
I'm sorry if I'm making y'all sick. I'm very shaky as it is, and then this car is not helping.
I know. We're going to also go to the shops that are over there, the Magnolia shops and stores. So we hope you guys are having fun. I thought that it would be great to just kind of bring you guys, get a Kelsey update and how she's doing and how life is. And actually yesterday was the 5-year anniversary for Lenny, my husband, learning about Kelsey. So I've got links below that I always share in the description that's about our story, but I'm gonna let Kelsey give you like a quick, do you think you could give a 1 to 2 minute quick synopsis from beginning to end, where it started and how we got to here?
Yes, if I can hold it that long. Okay, like from...
Do you need to switch arms?
From when I was finding you guys,
from when you were, so Kelsey grew up her whole life not knowing who her biological father was.
But knowing that I wasn't with my biological father.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. She was never led to believe that her stepdad
I guess
was
that's
her
what you meant,
biological
yeah.
dad or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you had this longing desire.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna rest my arm.
Yes.
Then I just really look in your face.
That's okay. So she had this, we're aiming for a video that doesn't have to be edited, guys, because editing takes so much time.
Yes.
All right, so you had this longing desire to find your father.
Yes. Since like really little.
Okay.
And I would actually dream about him.
Crazy.
Really weird. So I would have dreams like as a really young child. Like I would know that I would have dreams about this like man, and it was so crazy because now that I found him, when I look at his pictures from when he was younger, like that's what I was dreaming about.
That is so crazy.
So bizarre, I swear. Like I'm not making this up.
So crazy.
Not making it up at all. And so yeah, like I really had a strong desire, and I didn't know that I ever would find him. I really didn't think that that was possible because like my mom didn't really have much to go off of. She didn't have much information to give me. The only thing I did know is that they met at his parents' pizza place, or his family-owned pizza place, and
in San Antonio,
Texas. And obviously the year I was born, so I knew it was like the year before. And she knew that he was from like New York, but that's really all she really knew. And she didn't have a last name to go off of. So it made it really challenging to try and find him. I tried to go back to that center where the pizza place was numerous times and couldn't find the owner, couldn't find any information about it.
Well, now it's like a gas station.
Yeah.
It's not anything.
Come to find out, it like opened and closed within like a year and a half or so, right? A year?
I don't think it was
like it wasn't open very long anyway, so even if, you know, anyways.
So that was a dead end.
It was dead end.
So eventually in your adulthood, somebody really encouraged you. You would go through these phases of deep, deep desire, and then it's like, okay, I guess I'll just...
Yeah. There was times where I would lay it down because I was like, it's not going to happen, and it was stressing me out, and it was making me upset, and so I try to not focus on it, but it's always in the back of my mind anyway. And it would always come up in conversations, like, you know, people would ask, what nationality are you? What, do you look like your mom or your dad? Or things like that, you know, it always comes up in conversation. And I would just be like, I don't know half of me. I know I look a lot like my mom. Little did I know I looked a lot like my dad as well. And so one day it came up in a conversation and a friend said, hey, you should try Ancestry. And I thought, I thought Ancestry only told you like what your
nationality
was. Yeah. I didn't know that it could link you to family or
to human
people.
beings.
I had no idea that that's what it was. I didn't fully understand it, I guess. And so when she told me that a cousin had contacted them because she matched up to their DNA, I thought, oh my gosh, if I did my DNA, maybe it would match up to somebody in his family or him or something. So I went out, and actually that moment in the car, we were at my son's field trip. He was in first grade or second grade?
He was in first grade.
First grade.
He was in first grade.
He was in first grade. So he was at a field trip, and she said this, and so we were sitting in the car waiting for it to start, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna order it right now. And it was on sale, and I ordered it, and it came in so fast. I sent out my DNA, and it's supposed to take like a while to come back. And I had the reminder on my phone like 8 weeks out saying, you know, DNA results are due today or whatever. And it came with within like 2 or 3 weeks, like fast. And I was like, ooh, exciting. Well, there was nothing that really like connected me to him directly.
But it connected you to
distant relatives a lot. That ones that I didn't recognize from my mom's side. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna message every single person who is not on my mom's side that's like within, you know, like the first to second cousin range or whatever that it shows. So I would email the same thing, copy paste, and basically just said I'm looking for my biological father. I'm not trying to find him for any reason other than I just want to know who he is, because I didn't want to scare them away. I didn't want them to like detour from telling me anything because they were like, oh, this girl just wants money or like anything, you know. I didn't want that to be the issue. And so I truly just wanted to know who he was. I would have been fine seeing a picture if that's all he wanted. Like, I just wanted to know who he was. And so long story short, somebody gets back to me like a while later and says, the only cousins I have that moved to San Antonio was my cousin Ruben and his wife, and they have a set of twins the same age range that you're looking for. Please do not tell them that I have given you this information. Here's their names.
And now the cat's out of the bag.
And I was like, what? It was so crazy. It took time for that to happen, but it finally did. He finally got my message and sent me that back. And I had somebody on a Facebook page that was it was like a Puerto Rican genealogy Facebook group that I was in, where everybody was sharing like their number for like another
from raw data, right?
Right, raw DNA.
Yeah.
Where you would upload it, and it would go. It was at the time, I think it might have changed, I don't know, but at that time it was called either GED match or GED match, whatever. And people would upload their raw DNA, and then they gave you a number, and you can share your number, and then you can put in your 2 numbers and see if you guys are related. And a lot of people within Puerto Rico are related because it's such a small island. And so we would put our numbers in there and be like, oh, we're cousins, right? So one of the cousins of mine really liked to, was really into genealogy and really liked to look further into things and see if he could connect us or whatever. So he did, and he reached out to me and said, hey, I really want to help you. And I'm like, okay. And so I gave him everything I knew, and within like an hour he sends me a picture of my dad and was like, I think this is your dad. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so in that moment, I know I'm getting chills. I've heard this story 100 times. So I know that when you saw the picture, you knew you saw resemblance, and I know you showed it to David, and David was like, okay, but what was that like?
Oh, it was weird. It was weird. Like, it was like I was like looking at a version of myself. Like, it was so weird because we do look a lot alike. And so I was like, am I making this up in my head? Like, I look just like this man.
Am I wanting this to be my dad? or do I really look like this man?
Right.
Am I convincing myself, or do I really look like him?
Right.
And so you showed it to David.
I was on the couch and I'm laying there and I get the message and I look and I'm like, oh crap.
What picture did he send you? Which picture?
I think it was the one I posted on Instagram. Did you see it?
Was it from when he was younger or current day at that time?
Both. So he sent me two.
Okay.
But this is the one. So it was one from y'all's photo shoot with you and him and all the boys.
Okay.
So he sent me one, which was like a close-up of my dad.
Okay.
Okay. And then he sent this one as well.
Oh, okay. So that's when Matthew was a baby. So that picture, at the time, now Matthew's about to be 14
you
years old.
see the resemblance?
That was 9 years at that point. That had been 9 years.
So, yeah, so.
Let me see that. Oh my gosh. This picture was taken at Target. Who knew that this would be the picture that would connect? Yeah, this is a headshot that was taken at Target.
It was one of them. So it was those two, like the older one of like the more recent one and then the older one. So then, so I showed David and I ran to him. He was across, sitting on another couch. And I said, do you think this could be my dad? And he looks at it and he goes, yeah, you have his nose.
You do though.
I know. And I said,
funny.
Right? And he goes, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I found my dad. I think I found my dad. And I'm freaking out. And he smiles, you know, because he was a little hesitant. At first, he didn't like, he said okay at first, like whatever. I mean, I'm a grown woman. He's not going to stop me from it, right? So he didn't have anything to say about it. He was just encouraging. He was like, okay, cool. Like,
but then I'm sure
he did
the ups and downs of it all.
I don't think he realized that it was actually something that could potentially lead me to him. I think that he might have thought it was just
gonna satisfy curiosity,
right? And that it was just BS. Because a lot of people do. They think like, what? I mean, not so much now, but then it was kind of like in the last couple of years, it's been a big deal, like the ancestry and connecting people and whatever. But at that time, it was still a little bit new-ish to where people didn't really believe it, and so I don't think anybody really believed that this was going to lead me to him. And so it was kind of like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, do it. And then when I was getting matches and I was staying up all night and I was studying every single aspect of my DNA and other people's DNA and these people that I was contacting and having conversations with, and he was just like, and I would get very frustrated because it would just ultimately lead to a dead end. And I'd be like, I'm never gonna find him. It's so frustrating. And at this time, I had just come out of a deep, dark depression stage where he really didn't want me to slip back into it. And I could have very easily done that. Like, I mean, it was very, very taxing. And then he came to me one night and he's like, honey, I don't know that you should really do this. Like, I really think that you should just leave it where it is. Maybe it's just not God's plan for you to find him. Like, I don't know that it's a great idea. And I got so upset, right? I was so mad. But then I kind of stepped back a little bit. And then that's when I got the message about my dad, like shortly after that.
You got the message?
About wanting to help me and stuff. And then I gave him a little bit and I was like, okay, if this leads to a dead end, then I'll stop for a little bit. And so it didn't, and I found him. Yeah. So,
but you gotta, okay, so let me just tell you how much she is her father's child. Kelsey, can you give a quick 2-minute backstory?
Without even growing up with him.
And this has been like 7 minutes, I'm pretty sure. You're so funny. We're trying to make it to Bucky's because she has to potty.
Yeah.
And it was like a 14-minute, we're 5 minutes away at this point.
Thank you, Jesus.
She's hoping that this takes her mind off of going to
It did, it helped.
Okay. So that cousin takes your raw data, is able to give you, he sends you those pictures, and then how did you figure out how to find him on Facebook? You went back to the other cousin?
So, yeah, I don't really remember.
Somehow she found us on Facebook.
Somehow, I think he found you. Because I think that when they gave me the names, Lenny and Larry Lopez, and they're twins, and so I didn't know which twin was my father. I didn't know which one I was really looking for, which one I spent time looking for. Larry wasn't on social media.
Right, he's not.
And honestly, I didn't see my dad's Facebook because it had at the time just his name on it, not a picture. And I kind of just breezed through it, I guess, is what I remember. And I was like, how did I miss that? Like when he ended up finding the Facebook page, I was so mad at myself. I'm like, how did I miss that? Like I could have known him like 2 days earlier.
Right. So once he helped you, he said it's one of these two.
Right.
And then you went to your mom, right? And you said, which name, Mom?
Oh yeah.
And
she was like,
Leonard.
Well, she was kind of like, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It sounds familiar. Leonard, yeah. I think more than Larry.
Right.
Lenny sounded
right.
Familiar. So then, I don't even know if it was like a day or two between the cousin finding and me finding. It's such a blur. There was a little bit of time passed, I guess. I'm not sure. But I just remember that I had looked on my own for Lenny and Larry. And then I messaged that cousin and said, I got a name. But I'm not finding any information on it. And so then he looked again and he located it right away. And then I was like,
now,
how did I miss that?
That's a distant cousin on grandma's
Oh yeah,
side or
distant.
grandma's
I
side?
don't even know.
Do they know each other?
No.
No.
No,
Wow.
no, I don't think we ever figured that out.
Okay, so you find your you are connected to your dad's Facebook page, and you started stalking us, you said. Which is
For a little
creepy.
bit, yeah, I did. My biggest thing was I saw he had young children, he had a family, he had a wife, and that was something, it's gonna make me cry. I did not want to come and like wreck their world. That was like so important to me, that I did not want them to feel like I was going to like ruin anything, right? Or I don't know. I really didn't want it to be a negative thing to them, for their family.
Like what you're saying is you didn't want to impose on our life.
No, I didn't. I felt like
not.
I felt like, you know, they look so happy, they're so cute, like I don't want to ruin their life, you know. And so I contemplated, should I just leave it at this? Like I know who he is. And I have a picture. That's all I ever wanted, right? Like I know who he is and I could just leave it like this. And I prayed about it and I contemplated, and ultimately I decided, like, since he didn't know about me, he didn't decide to just give me up and walk away from me, or, you know, he didn't want that relationship or whatever. He never got the opportunity to even make that choice for himself.
You know something about his life at that
he
point
doesn't,
that he doesn't even know.
And so I thought, I've got to at least give him the opportunity to make that decision, and then I have to live with that. And I just have to be okay with that. And so I just prayed that God would give me the strength to be able to handle whatever decision he and his family made when it came to our relationship, and just be thankful that at the end of the day I got my answer, and I know who he is, and I know what he looks like. I know that I look a lot like him, and I finally have the other half of my puzzle. So then I reached out via Facebook, and it took him a while to see the message, and those were like super hard moments, waiting and waiting. And then he finally reached out.
And it's crazy because he typically is like on social media all the time.
Yeah.
And at that point he had been really busy.
Yeah.
And he did not see them for
like, because you know on Facebook you can see if someone's read it or not. And so I would be like, he hasn't seen it, he hasn't seen it, he still hasn't seen it. And then I was on the phone one day and a notification was came in, and I looked at it, and it was that someone had put a sad face on my message.
Well, okay, I remember you telling me that your mom had called and was like, have you heard that?
Yeah, I was talking to my mom.
Like,
my phone is gonna die.
I don't think that he's gonna call me.
Right.
I don't think he's gonna see the message. He hasn't seen it.
He hasn't seen it yet.
You were super bummed.
I was really bummed, yeah.
And then you get this.
During that conversation, I got this notification that had like a sad face. Then I got a notification that the sad face was removed. Then I got a notification that there was a heart, and then I got a phone call.
Which is so funny because that is so
my dad.
Your dad. He's like, oh my gosh, I hit the wrong button. He's the guy that is in the middle of church. He's watching a video on Facebook and doesn't turn, or is scrolling through his Facebook feed, and the volume isn't turned down, and then the video is blaring through the whole church, and he's like, oh my gosh, like that is so him. That is so funny. So funny.
So then I get a phone call.
You got a phone call. Okay, we're gonna go potty because she's gonna potty in her pants. We are at this point about 30 minutes from our location. Buc-ee's. Oh, Buc-ee's, yes, we are at Buc-ee's. This is the Buc-ee's in Temple, which is a nice, all the Buc-ee's are nice.
Oh yeah.
But this
must
is,
stop at a Buc-ee's.
Yeah, this Buc-ee's is our halfway point when we are going to Dallas. So,
I almost said butt-keys.
We are at this Buc-ee's a lot because when we go back and forth to Dallas, this is our halfway point. But this is also about 30, 40 minutes from where we're going today. So we're almost there, okay? We're gonna go potty and then we will come back and finish our story time, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so we are done at Buc-ee's. We have pottied, we have washed our hands, and we are ready to continue. We're gonna drive from Temple to Waco, but we're gonna finish with story time. So, the part of the story that you made it to was your dad got the message finally, and it went from red to sad face to remove sad face to heart, and then your phone rang. Dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, you ready to tell us about it?
Okay.
That's a really pretty lipstick too. Is that Revlon?
It is, and I'll tell you, I like the texture, but I don't love this color.
Oh, I think it's a great color on you. But it's very it's not opaque. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's not real pigmented.
Right.
It's almost like it's got a lot of gloss to it, but I think
it does, and that's what I like because it is kind of glossy. And I told you my lips get dry.
Okay.
Anyway,
her lips get dry. Okay, so
dry.
I'm gonna pass the camera to my camera assistant, and you're going to pick up with. You're on the phone with your mom, and the message changes, and then your phone rings. Oh, oops, sorry.
Okay, so the phone rings, and I see it's a Dallas number, and I'm like,
oh my goodness. Okay, you gotta go up a little bit. We can't be showing. Yep, there you go. Thank you.
This has to be him.
It had to be.
Because I don't know this number and like the notification and all of that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart starts racing. I hang up the phone with my mom, and my phone is about to die. Of course.
Not good. Reason number 724 why you're just like your father. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh great, here we go. So I jumped. I was on the swing outside, hanging from our tree, and I run in the house. I was out there pouting and moping. Seriously, I was so like, this is never gonna happen for me. I was this close. Like, why am I pouting? Oh, it was so silly. So
no, I think it's normal.
I even grabbed one of David's beers. And I remember like, I'm gonna drink a beer, and it was so out of the norm for me to like just grab a beer and drink at home. Like I don't know, I'm more of a like social drinker, like go out to like a restaurant and have a drink. So anyways, where was I?
Okay, so phone rings, your phone is dying.
Yes, okay, so I run, jump off the swing. Well, first I answer it. Yeah, I think I answered it first. And I was like, hello? Trying not to sound all
so composed. Like, hello, I haven't been crying for days. Hi.
Not like I'm waiting, I'm like, hello?
Yes.
And I hear, is this Kelsey? Is this Kelsey? Can I talk to Kelsey? He's all like freaking out. Yeah. And I'm nervous. I'm like, this is her. Like, why would you be calling? What can I help you with?
That is so funny.
So goofy. So then I'm like, I mean, cause like, I don't know. How do you answer that call, you know?
So you say, this is Kelsey, and he says.
Yes, and he says, I'm your dad. I love you. I'm your dad.
No, I thought he said, I think I'm your dad.
I think I'm your dad. I'm your dad.
I love you.
And I love you. Yeah, it was so cute. He was so sweet. And right away I start crying. Number 1,575 million reason why I'm my father's child. I start to cry over everything.
Very emotional people.
Very. So yeah, I start to cry and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I love you so much. So he just kept telling me how much he loved me.
You're like, we just met, bro.
And then he says, and you have 8 brothers.
That's a lot.
And I said, are you sure? No sisters?
At what point did he tell you he remembered the story? He remembered, like, at what point did he start referring back to, we did have a pizza place, it is me, I know it's me, I remember your mom, like,
yeah.
How did that come about?
So by this time I'm in the kitchen looking for a charger. He's talking about my brothers. And what? I think you might have initiated that because I think we were just at the time going back and forth.
How long did y'all talk? I was not at home when all this happened.
Not long before you got home.
I get home.
Yeah.
And Lenny's crying. And,
right. And has me on the phone and says, Crystal, I need to tell you something.
Well, hold on. So Lenny and I are not people who are like, we need to go behind closed doors to have this conversation. We're just people who our life plays out in front of the whole.
But I was so nervous for his wife to find out about me. I don't know.
So I come home from a meeting and I walk in the door and I can tell he's been crying and he goes, I need to talk to you in the bedroom. And I'm like, is everything okay? Did something happen? What? Like, that's not normal. We don't do that.
Yeah. And
I get in the room and he's crying again. I could tell he had been crying and now he's actively crying. He's in active crying mode. And I can hear he's got the phone like this. I don't think it was up to his ear. It may have been. But I can hear a female on the other end wailing.
Like, I was wailing?
You were crying. I could definitely hear, yes, you were crying. And I'm like, so now I'm thinking, I mean, I'll just be honest. I'm thinking that he's going to tell me he's had an affair or something. Yeah. I don't know. And I'm like, okay, is everything okay? What's going on? What is happening here? And he says, I have a daughter. And so now I'm like, okay, he's about to tell me that he's got a 4-year-old daughter somewhere.
Well, and that's the question you asked first.
And so I said, how old is she?
That's all I remember that.
And he said, she's 30. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's totally fine. I've told him for 15, 20 years, you're going to get a knock on the door someday. Because he was a ladies' man at one time. So, yeah. So that's how that went.
So, yeah, I was really nervous because I didn't want her to be like mad that I'm like, hi, I'm here.
Hi.
You know.
So, I will tell you. We've shared some other videos before with you guys, and I was not YouTubing at the time, so I don't have videos that are YouTube videos of our perspective at that time. I will say, like, it hasn't been bulk free. Like, there, you know, we moved across state. We came to live near her. My in-laws are here as well. You know, there were little bumps, like the process of moving your family and, you know, kids being like, do we really have to move? And, you know, what does all this mean? And adjustments. But I will tell you, those things have been so small in comparison to how great it has all been.
It has been great.
Your dad always wanted a daughter. Oh my goodness. We are going on like bumpy road.
I'm really trying to hold it steady.
He has always wanted a daughter. And in a lot of ways, for many different reasons, in a lot of ways, this has changed him for good. And so now it's been 5 years. We live within, I don't know, 6, 7 miles of each other, 5 miles of each other. We don't see each other all the time because we're all busy.
In the beginning we tried, and that was too much.
Well, in the beginning we did see each other a lot. I feel like, you know, you and your dad had a lot of time to make up for.
It's true.
And then it was a lot, but it was okay, honestly.
And for that season, we needed it.
Right,
we really did.
With that.
Yeah, and I think what made it a lot is not everyone on the outside of our little bubble understood that.
Yeah,
that's kind of what made it challenging to, like, you know.
There were a lot of complexities. I mean, Kelsey had a dad who had raised her, and I am, you know, I'm sure that was a lot for him to deal with as well.
It was.
And I think in the beginning, everybody's like, oh, you're going to find your father, how fun. And then you do. and there's a lot of emotions to process.
Right, and I don't think anybody realized that they would have to process that.
Right.
I think everybody was just kind of like, oh, it's not going to affect me.
Honestly, every single person impacted would have benefited from some counseling, honestly.
Yes.
But not everybody's pro counseling, and here we are 5 years later, and we all live to tell about it, and I feel like everyone is happy, healthy, and wise. Like, I feel like it's last night, so yesterday was 5 years, and Kelsey and her dad spent some time together yesterday doing like nonsense dad and daughter stuff.
Yeah, and it was
They went
great.
to IKEA, they got food poisoning together.
Oh my gosh, yes, we did. It was awful.
And
if fish doesn't smell right or taste right, don't eat it.
right, I thought they knew that. So they went, and they both within hours were not feeling good and having
so
some
gross.
issues with their stomachs, and I'm like, do y'all not know if it doesn't smell good, don't eat it?
So yeah, know that now.
Yeah, I mean, he painted a dresser for you yesterday.
Yeah.
Very impulsive and like it wasn't planned for y'all to go to IKEA. It wasn't planned for y'all to buy a dresser and paint a dresser. Y'all are both so much alike. It was just like, hey, we're gonna do this. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And then my kids are wanting to go to the movies. I'm like, why don't we all go to the movies together? And we went to the movies. But life is busy. We are busy. They are busy. But when we do get together, we have a great time. We just saw each other. You were just at our house at Christmas.
Yeah.
We saw you at Thanksgiving. We saw you around my birthday.
Yes.
We saw you, and then it'll be 3 or 4 weeks. And they are very busy with sports and school and all of that. And we have all of our own things that we are busy with. And then it's like good friends who you don't have to talk every day. And then when you talk again after 2 weeks, you just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it is. And
There's no pressure. There's nothing.
No
it's
pressure.
just, it's great. Very easy. It just feels like we've been family forever. Like, it truly does. I said the other day, it feels like it's crazy that it's only been 5 years, because it feels like I've known them forever. But then it also feels like, wow, it's already been 5 years. Like, it's weird. I always say that I just am so thankful that it feels like it's been forever at the same time, because it's really hard when you think about the loss of time. It can be very difficult. So it's something that I try not to even think about, and I feel like God has really protected me in that aspect, because you can really go down a dark space if you think about all the things you missed out on together and all the time that you've lost together. But then you can also just rejoice in the fact that, wow, I'm really feeling like this relationship has been connected to me my entire life. Like, and so I think about I try to think that there's no lost time, even though there is, and it's really, really hard.
Right. Are you a glass half empty or a glass half full
And
person?
so I'm trying, and it's a challenge. Like, I have to work at it. I can't let my thoughts go there of like, wow, he missed out on this and that. I just think about like how great our time is now, and that when we do get together, it feels like he didn't miss out on anything at all, and I didn't either, and so
well, you can choose. This is what I tell him, because he definitely struggles with, he goes through times of feeling very down and bummed about missing 30 years.
Yeah.
And I tell him, you can choose to dwell on that and choose to lose another 30 years, or you can make amazing memories over the next 30 years.
And it's true. And I do give him the fact, though, that like he's only had 5 years to process this, and I have had my whole life.
That's true.
So it is a little bit easier for me to kind of, like, not easier, like, I guess easier.
Well, it's a different mindset.
It's just different.
You mentally were prepared to hopefully find your dad.
Right. And I think
He
for me, it's like,
mentally had
finally,
no idea.
it's here,
He's like,
so I'm going to enjoy
what?
it and embrace it.
Right.
And for him, it's like, he's still processing the fact that he hasn't had this for 30 years. So yeah, it is very different.
Right. Well, and he carries a lot of guilt. Like, if I had known and I had been there, maybe this could have been different, or this could have been different, or I would have been able to walk her down the aisle, or be there when my grandchildren were born, or, fill in the blank. But I tell him, you can choose to dwell on that and let it rob you of your joy, or you can see what's in front of you.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're all a work in progress. We all are.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
Me?
So that was the
good.
2-minute backstory.
2 minutes. Like,
how are you doing? How are your kids? Like, y'all have got.
we're doing
soccer.
well. So I don't know, like a handful of y'all have followed my story on my YouTube. I used to do YouTube a lot, and it was really just started out of like, I really felt led to share my story with depression, anxiety, and like overcoming all of that. And so I'm doing really well mentally and physically well.
Just not with her speech.
I've always had trouble with my speech. I really think that I have a tongue tie, lip tie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you?
I do. I mean, I do. Mine's very tight. And so they do say that. And so I do stumble on my words if I'm not careful. I've always had to be, like, what is it called?
Conscientious?
Yeah.
Cognitive. I'm struggling with my words too. You have to be very deliberate and intentional.
I do, when I speak. Anyways, so you will hear sometimes like a word come out funny, and it happens all the time. So, anywho, yes, I'm doing very good. My family is doing very well. My kids are growing, and they're healthy, and they're strong, and they're crazy and wild, and they're amazing. And my husband is great and supportive and awesome. So, yeah, life is so good. I really have no complaints. I've recently started a gluten-free journey. That's been crazy and hard and good all at the same time. And very beneficial to me.
What
so
have the benefits been? Like what, I think you said.
Totally like mental clarity. Like my brain fog is very minimal, and I've only been off gluten for a month and a half, and I've had some cross-contamination, so I know that it's like, it could be even better if I was very careful. Like, I still go out to eat. That's when it's more challenging, is when you're going out to eat. But when I'm really good about it for multiple days, then I see a huge difference in like my mental clarity and everything. And so that's good. My anxiety levels aren't as high. I feel very good in my stomach. I have had very horrible stomach issues, digestive issues. And so yeah, I really think that cutting out gluten was awesome. I've tried it many times, but I haven't taken it so serious. It's easy to like fall back off and be like, it's just easier to eat unhealthy. It's so unfortunate that it's so easy for us to just eat unhealthy, and to eat healthy is so hard. Like, the better choice is always harder. Like, gluten-free costs twice as much, sometimes more.
And you know
it's
what?
Hard.
So one of the best places to get gluten-free stuff is Aldi, and in San Antonio we don't have Aldi, and Aldi is very affordable.
Really?
But have you gone to Trader Joe's much? You should be able to.
I know
find
Trader Joe's
stuff.
has a lot of gluten-free stuff. I haven't. It's a little bit more of a drive. It's not super far, but it's just kind of inconvenient.
I mean,
Sprouts is good too, and it's down the street.
Yeah,
it does have a lot of options. Even our HEB has a little gluten-free section, and it's getting better. So it is getting a lot easier to do it. I will say that I'm thankful that I am starting my journey now, where there's a lot of things that are accessible to me easily. So yeah.
That's awesome. And kids are good.
Yeah.
School year's going great.
Very good.
Soccer's going great.
Yes.
Are you still playing soccer?
I am still playing soccer.
That's awesome.
Yes. I actually wanted to do a YouTube channel dedicated to learning soccer at 30.
Hey, that's good.
But here I am 6 years later. And I have no
So Kelsey
video
was YouTubing when she was going on the journey looking for her dad.
And it wasn't intentional to do that. It started
YouTubing before that to talk about depression and anxiety, right?
Then everybody resonated with finding my father. Right. And so then that just got even bigger. And
well,
so
and
it was
you
really
knew that
cool.
when you would post about it and post about your journey and your update, learning about your dad's family and all of that, it would help people, and that's what they were interested in.
Yeah, and it was really cool. But then I came to a point where I was like, okay, well, I can only talk about the same thing so much when it came to that. And then I came to a place of like, I don't know.
Y'all should have recorded yesterday.
I know.
Even if it was only a 5-minute video, you should have recorded it and said, can you believe it's been 5 years?
I know.
Why didn't you?
We should.
Yes.
Do it again.
Y'all should sit down and give a 5-year update. The two of you.
Let's do it. Okay.
Y'all should do that.
We're going to do it.
I keep telling her she should YouTube. Now, I'm not trying to pressure you.
I love to YouTube. I do. But I just don't know what to YouTube. You know, it's kind of like, I'm just stuck in this place of like, everybody who follows my YouTube channel, they are there because of you know, the depression, anxiety. And while I still am an advocate for like all of that stuff, I just am not in that place anymore to really like talk about it on the daily. I've kind of like moved forward and like feel good about it, and it is heavy. It is heavy. It is very heavy, and I got a lot of messages, and I want to help people, but it is very heavy, and it's hard not to slip when you're constantly talking about it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of start to stray away from that a bit, and then, like I said, there's only so much I could say about our story with my dad and his family, and like there's only so many videos that we can make together because life, and we just can't.
I'm still very much an advocate of her pursuing consistently YouTube, because I think it's great.
I love it. I really do. I do want to make videos. I just like...
It's just about being consistent. Even if you only do 2 videos a week, you just got to be consistent. I'm on a very slow journey to growing my YouTube channel, but consistency does pay off.
It does.
So what advice would you give someone who is either someone looking for one of their biological parents, or an adult who is hoping that their biological child will look for them someday? Like, do you have any advice for them? Or also the involvement of utilizing tools like Ancestry and Facebook. I mean, how amazing that Facebook can help you connect with not only your biological parent, but family members and other people in the same situation looking for the same stuff. So
there's just so many aspects to it. It's so like, just the situations are all so different that I've come across when people message me. I didn't tell you I had a really sweet Instagram message yesterday after I posted like happy 5 years or whatever, from a lady that didn't even follow me from YouTube, and she was just saying like that I had helped her during her time, and like she was so appreciative of it, and she's been following ever since. I didn't even know, because my Instagram is only like, it's small. It's not like I have a lot of people following me on there, so I thought it was so cool that like she was on there, and I didn't even know. And so but anyways, her story was very different. You know, her dad had 4 other kids, knew about her, stayed out of her life, I guess, and by the time she went to look for him, he had already passed, and that was really hard for her. And then, but she got to know her siblings, and so I think that she was like happy about that. But yeah, I always say like, just keep an open mind and have 0 expectations, and just know that it takes everybody time and to process, and they all process it very differently, and just to, you know, stay true to yourself, and like always have good intentions, and just know that like, you know, you can't change the past, but you can change the future, and you have choices to be happy, and choices to just accept things for what it is, and just, I don't know, I think like every situation is so different, so it's really hard to just give like blanket advice. But I would say like, pursue whatever is going to serve you good. If you feel like it's going to serve you well to know who your biological parent is, whether or not you have a relationship, I say pursue it. And you never know what's going to come of it, but just also like, don't put so much expectation on it, you know?
Yeah, that's good. So something that you guys may not know, not to hijack that, but
go for it.
To complement that.
Yeah.
Something that you guys may not know about me is I grew up not knowing my biological father. And I think that I've never really understood why God's plan was for all of that to play out the way that it did. But now, having Kelsey in our life, I feel like it has allowed me to really relate to a lot of what you have gone through in this process. So for me, I was 12 years old when I found out that my dad was not my biological dad. And I found out that my siblings were my half-siblings. And so, that said, we've never ever referred to, I get very offended if somebody tries to refer to my dad as my stepdad. I get offended if people try to refer to my siblings as my step-siblings, because that's all I know.
Yeah.
Like, that's my dad, and those are my siblings. And I And actually, my paternal side of the family, paternal grandmother, paternal aunts and uncles, paternal father, my father, they were very close to some of my maternal side of the family. They were actually neighbors. So my paternal grandma and one of my mom's older sisters were neighbors most of my life. And so it's really weird, like looking back and saying, okay, so I wonder how many times I did see that side of the family and didn't know that that was the family I was seeing. Like, you know,
crazy.
There is some craziness there, but at the end of the day, that's a whole nother story. But at the end of the day, I did not have any desire to ever meet him, ever. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I started to have a desire to meet him. And I was able to reach out to one of my aunts on my mom's side that I had grown up with and always known, one of my maternal aunts. And I was like, hey, I think I'm ready. Can you get me his phone number and let me get in touch with him? Actually, that was about 5 years ago when I decided that I wanted to make a connection with him. And it was right after we moved here. This whole situation with you really encouraged me to say, you know, let's just make the step to reach out, right? So I did, and we did some back and forth Facebook messaging. He was never, my story is completely different than hers in the sense of he was never available to talk. He was never available to meet up. And then we lost connection for about 2 years. He would kind of disappear. And then he would come back and chat on Facebook, and then he would disappear. And there were some substance abuse issues and things like that. And I get that. Like I knew going into it that those things were there, right? But when I was really ready to say, I am going to hunt this guy down and find where he lives and meet him, when I was finally getting to that place in my heart, where my heart and my mind were matching, you know, he passed away. He passed away from COVID. But since then, I have been able to connect with other family members. So it would be cousins on my paternal side of the family, cousins that don't live far. I've also been able to do some deep work in finding genealogy information about that side of the family and how they were some of the original settlers here in Texas, and fought at the Alamo. And it's really encouraging and super, super cool. But at the end of the day, I can really, I feel like my advice to someone going through a story similar to what Kelsey would be going through is, especially if you are the stepmom, just meet them where they're at. Like, I think as sad as it is that you were 30 and that time was lost, I think that it was God's plan, and we met you right when we were supposed to meet you, right?
Yeah.
And I value that we've been able to have a friendship outside of, even though there's only 10 years between us, outside of stepmom and stepdaughter relationship. But also I feel like my backstory has helped me, oh, there was our exit, has helped me relate with you in like the confusion that comes with biological dad and dad that raised me, and those loyalties, and those feelings that happen with all that.
Anyway, you were definitely like the only person who could like really understand that.
I get it.
Because I was the same way, like really offended if anybody referred to my stepdad as my stepdad.
Well, and I'll tell you, my stepdad, and I hate even saying that, the dad that raised me, very imperfect guy.
Yeah,
like
same.
Struggled a lot.
Same.
Very, you know,
but I think like at the end of the day,
he did something that someone else wouldn't do,
you know, or couldn't or whatever.
Right.
But he had a choice.
Right.
And he said, I am going to take you in and I am going to give you what you need.
Right.
And I mean, that's just beautiful to me regardless. Like, yes, I had some tough times with mine as well. It was not easy. You know, like, but it's like, when somebody does take on that responsibility,
right,
you just are forever grateful for it. And so it's like really hard to like,
no matter how imperfect they are, they stepped up and did something. And even your dad has said, you know, he has to acknowledge, your dad understands now the difference more than ever in what a father and a dad is.
Yeah.
And because Doug raised you, he understood that when he walked into this with you, I'm so sorry, this is so bumpy. When he walked into this with you, you really did have a dad who was raising you.
Yeah.
Who had raised you.
Yeah.
And on one hand, he felt devastated that he didn't have a chance to do that, but he was so grateful that you had a dad that was there. And that brought him some peace, and he really respected Doug.
Yeah.
So.
And how crazy, like, shortly after I had my dad move here and everything, my dad who raised me ended up getting really sick and passing away. And that was really difficult.
Very sad.
But I think it's so incredible that, like, I have my dad still, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not as a replacement, but just as, like, I'm not gonna go without. And, like,
I'm going the wrong way again.
oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking, I should have had my GPS on. I'm looking, I'm like, I know we're close and it's over here on the left. So you just keep talking and I'll get us there.
So I just think it's beautiful that for so long I had this emptiness, this void, but like God was just so good that I was able to, like, right when my void was being filled, it's like I wasn't, how am I describing this? So Crystal just went in to go put our name down. We're at Magnolia table. And I'm going to try to just summarize what I was going to say. So, like, I just think that it's incredible timing that I meet my biological dad at a time where he can still meet my dad who raised me. I know that was really hard for both of them, but they both got together so that they could meet and talk. And my biological dad, it's really hard for me to say, like, my stepdad. I don't like saying that. Just like Crystal said, I really don't. But my dad scared me.
Hello. Okay, they said 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Not bad.
Wow. So yeah, so like, I think that was really hard for them to do that, both of them, for different reasons, but like they came together and they got to meet each other, and that was so wonderful. And then I think that it's great that, like, you know, like I have my biological dad now, and we have this time to spend together. And it's unfortunate that my dad who raised me can't be here for all of it, but you know, it just, God's plan, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is for sure. So, all right, guys, what else would what else would you guys love to know about Kelsey and Lenny? And I think that Kelsey and Lenny should do a video together.
Give this a thumbs up if you think we should.
Give us a thumbs up if you think Kelsey and Lenny should do a video on her channel. And then when they do, I will leave a link here for you guys.
That's so weird because, like, it's been 2 or 3 years since
It's been a long time.
recorded anything. Has it been 2 or 3?
Let me look.
I really think we're coming up to 3.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Let me get on this channel and look.
Crazy.
Crazy. Okay.
It was such a big part of my, like, I don't know. I say recovery, like.
Kelsey Lynn. I never can find it if it's been a while. What is your channel listed? I know you were Kelsey Lynn Cares.
No, it's just Kelsey Lynn with 1 N.
Oh, with 1 N.
Yeah.
And so here we go. So to think your dad would have wanted your name to be Brooklyn. Could you imagine? She's not a Brooklyn.
I mean, that's not a bad name. It's just I don't think.
So these are the videos at the top. Let's see here. It has been 2 years since you did a Get Ready With Me.
But I think it's coming up on 3.
And talk about mental health.
Hello, my name is Jim Cook.
And
so my last video was, are you sure that was my last one?
That's what it shows as your last one. I don't know. Oh, January 31st. You're right. Oh no, it just hit 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah, Get Ready With Me and talk about mental health.
Okay. Thought it had been longer.
Nope, there you go. But there's lots of videos on here, like Spend the Day with Me and My Dad, getting to know the Lopezes.
And then just a lot of life
Yeah, and then
I guess it was like a lifestyle YouTube the last.
for sure. I think part of what Kelsey struggled with was not knowing what kinds of videos to do.
Yeah.
And
I guess that doesn't really matter, right?
Time consistency.
What I really like though is I can look back and I can see my stuff. So if anything, like it's fun to do it for yourself.
I would agree.
But I always said like I wanted a channel that was gonna help people.
Right.
And like, I don't know, if I didn't find purpose in it, I didn't want to do it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts? I think that she should get back to YouTubing, but I've been saying that for a while.
I know.
So yes, I think it would be great, even if you're not going to. Our table's ready.
What?
All right, guys.
Okay,
that was
bye.
fast. We're gonna go to Magnolia. We're gonna go here and eat, and then we're gonna go. I might take a little bit of footage and show you around. But Kelsey, we adore you. We love you. We're so glad that we have you. We're so glad that
I feel the same.
God's plan was for you to be in our life, and I'm so glad that we're gonna go eat at Magnolia, and it's gonna be amazing. Okay. All right, guys. We may show you some Magnolia stuff. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Yay! All right.
Say that again.
So we are done with eating. How long were we in there? About 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We might as well have taken up residency in there. The craziest.
Crazy.
Oh, my eyelashes just stuck together, the top and the bottom. The craziest thing just happened. So we had, first of all, we had the most amazing waitress. Initially, we were like, yeah, we'll just sit wherever. And then they put us like in a place where they have like bar seating, but it's not a bar, but it's a bar stool. But there's like no space.
Yeah.
And you're facing a mirror, so you're just kind of looking at yourself.
eat, and I was like,
And we were like, we are so grateful and we love this. It's gorgeous. It is so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I said that.
It's
I'm like, this is
aesthetically
gorgeous.
like, yes.
But we really don't want to sit here. So we'll wait. So we waited a little bit longer. Totally fine. And they ended up putting us in this girls section. Erin.
I'm so glad
Oh
they did.
my word. Her name was Erin, right?
Erin.
Yes.
I was like obsessed with her. It's
person
weird.
on the planet. She was
I wanna be her
hilarious.
friend.
She spoke fluent sarcasm, but was so funny. She was so awesome. If you ever come here, you should ask for her. And I don't know why, we both felt like we had known her our whole lives, and we just started divulging everything. And she started divulging everything.
And we were all like, this is TMI.
And in an hour, we all knew everything about each other. And then they comped our meal. She said, what did she say? She said,
shared
I told my
our story.
GM.
Yeah, she sent her GM the story.
And
of
I guess
us
the
meeting.
story was so fresh on our minds because we had just recorded in the car.
Right.
So we were still kind of talking about it. Go ahead.
And then she just comes to the table and's like, since your story is so cool, we comped it. Or it's on us. And we were like, no! At the exact same time. Like, that's exactly what we did. That's not what we're trying to do. We were just, it was just in conversation. Like, it was so organically
But we
spoken.
learned about her. She learned about
Yeah,
us. Like,
it was
super
so, but like,
fun
that's
person.
not even like the best part. Like, that is a blessing and that is super cool and like, wow, like totally cool.
Awesome.
But the coolest part was just, she was so amazing.
Yes.
And it just made the experience just so much better. Like, this is a great place to come for sure.
She knows all the facts, like fun fact.
Everything.
So just ask for fun fact Erin, because that's apparently what she's known as. She knows everything. So our food was fantastic. She made it like a level 100.
Oh yeah.
She was so awesome. She knew everything about, so at one point Kelsey wanted to know something about, because she's eating gluten-free because of her diet.
And I always feel really bad being like, oh, is that gluten-free?
And she's like, I went and looked up the recipe and
and you're good. And she was like, and she knew already a lot about
she did.
the gluten-free
She knew a whole lot.
options. She knew about,
she's like, most people do this and this and this and this.
Yeah, like
these
she
go well
knew
together.
her stuff.
It was so yummy.
I don't know. That girl, I told Crystal, I just want to put her in my pocket, take her home. She would make the car ride so much fun.
She would make our ride home awesome.
She would make my life better if we were friends.
We would, yes, we need to move to Waco.
I guess,
we should just uproot our families
Let's
and
do
move to Waco and find Erin at Magnolia Table, okay?
But she won't be here forever because hopefully she's going to school for radiology, and I really am going to pray that she makes it big.
Yep. And all the great things for her. Exactly.
So great.
All right, so now we're going to go to the silos. We are very full. You were able to eat gluten-free?
Yes. I did not like the gluten-free bread, but like, I don't like gluten-free bread from anywhere yet. I have not found one gluten-free bread that
you love.
That like.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think your tummy liked the bread.
I
Clearly
just
your
rather
tummy's happy.
Take everything off the bread and eat it.
It looked yummy. She
Yeah,
got the eggs
it was very
Benedict,
good.
but you said you think you got the eggs Benedict the last time you were here too, right?
Probably, because anywhere I can get eggs Benedict, I usually do. It's like my go-to. But instead of getting it with like bacon or ham, I always choose sausage.
So I want to that's this. I want to experience all the things on the menu, right? So we had a delicious appetizer that was so good with
Can I just say,
please.
when you go anywhere with Crystal, you're gonna get the full experience.
I am a food person.
And not even with
I'm
food
an
though, you're
experienced
just
person.
like, with everything, you want it to be as fun as it can be, as memorable as it can be, and if that means we get the whole menu, we do. Like, she's
that's
just,
my heart.
that's
I will
who
tell
she
you,
is.
the menu is smaller now than it used to be. The last time we were here, we had like a flight of juices. We had, they've condensed their menu, which is totally understandable. I think a lot of places are doing that now because, you know, just the way that the world is and supply chain issues and all that. But we had, so if you ever come here, get the eggs and bacon, which that was the candy bacon that was phenomenal.
Was so good.
With the deviled eggs, phenomenal. And that was a jalapeno.
I want to see if they sell that.
Jam. She might. And that water carafe, is that what you call it? It was so beautiful. Surely they have that at Target, right? Anyway, it was delicious. We mixed all those together. I had some of the biscuits. They were phenomenal. I had a grilled cheese. And by that point, honestly, I had grilled cheese. It was a pimento grilled cheese. And then I also had the tomato basil soup, which was phenomenal.
She told you to add avocado and tomato,
and it was so good.
And you did that.
And I have half the sandwich left. I'm going to give it to Luke Henry because Luke Henry is my little chef who loves, like, he knows about red wine reduction, and he loves food, and he loves learning how to cook different things. He's never cooked a red wine reduction.
He knows how to make you a latte.
He knows how to make you a latte. He could be a barista. And then we had the sundae for dessert and the lemon, what was it? Lemon hand pie, I think.
I didn't try that one just because it has a crust
Oh,
in it.
you get to pick 3 different ice creams for your sundae. And she said, fun fact, Erin told us that those are all made by Bluebell and you can only get them here. They are specific to Magnolia. So that was awesome. All right, guys, we will show you a few things while we are at the silos. That's where we're headed now. We're going to have a blast, and then we're going to drive home and battle traffic, I'm sure. But this has been super, super awesome. And if you ever come to Magnolia Table, ask for Fun Fact Erin, please. She's phenomenal. All right, we'll show you the silos. Can I just say we had the most amazing time. And when we got there, look at this. Everyone has a story worth telling. That was on the wall. That was one of the first things that we seen. Those are the silos behind us. And it instantly made sense to us how much they are moving their messaging towards everyone having a story. We saw stuff like that everywhere within the market. So this is one of the main marketplaces. I hardly took any pictures here. This is where you can get kitchen goods and a lot of t-shirts, hats, their apparel stuff, and then some of the fake plants and all of that. And then these little shops out here. So there's like an area where kids can run and play and have fun. And then this little area out here, these are all little stores. And one store has paper and stationery. One store has all things for men. One store has all plants. This was not here last time. Look at these plants. It's called Fernies. Oh my goodness. I'm wishing they named them Petunia. Why didn't I take that home? I'm looking back at this as I'm editing. Why didn't I take that home? Mitzi, adorable. Betty, precious. The candles were amazing. Vinyl record, and then like there was another one called Classic something, so good. Cactuses, I can get those in San Antonio. Look at how beautiful that is. Beautiful. Clementine. There's one named Maxine. Maxine, why didn't I take that home? That was my grandmother's name. I was amazed at all of these plants. I think if we go back, this is going to be an area where I buy something next time. They did not have this store last time. Did I already say that? I was just blown away. Kelsey said she kills every plant. I said, look, they have air plants. Get an air plant. They had books on how to care for your plants, all kinds of stuff. Look at that retro phone. Love it. This was a really sweet surprise, that store. And then we finished everything off with going to the coffee shop, which is called The Press. Let me just tell you, Joanna Gaines has got an eye for decor. That green, I would never think that deep green would be something I would want in a room. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Here's our coffee. I got blush. Let me just tell you, it tasted like soap. It is part rose and part almond. some things just taste soapy to people, and that was soapy to me, but I pretended Joanna Gaines made it for me, and I drank every last bit of it. I would have loved it just almond, but it was a seasonal, so you may like it. You may totally like it. All right, here's my great find. I bought myself, and I bought Kelsey one as well. This is from Rifle Paper Company, which is a great company you may know about. It's a 5-year journal set, and every one of those books is dedicated to a year. I bought us both one. I am so excited to do this. It's just a little spot in each. There's a spot for each day so that you can capture a recap. You can do it in gratitude style, in traditional Dear Diary style. I love it. I've been doing it for a week, and I'm in love. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for coming along with us. I hope you had as much fun as we did. Bye.